You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your number one source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Dancing with the Stars After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Dancing with the Stars After Show.
All right, welcome back to week 6 here at Dancing with the Stars. We have an action-packed show at AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm Kristyn Burtt, happy to be back in studio. Thank you, Suri Serano, for filling in for me last week. As you can see, to my left, Anna Trebunskaya.
Hello, everybody.
All right, Suri, you're here in studio as well.
I am.
Looking
Hello.
like the green.
Thank you.
Very good. I like it. And our very special guest, Henry Byalikob.
Yay.
Hey guys.
I know, we are so excited you're here. If you guys are missing Jules, he is rehearsing. He'll be back next week. He's not rehearsing for Dancing with the Stars. Everyone was like, he's going to be on the show on Monday. No, he's rehearsing for something else. And if you were also expecting Sasha Farber, he's rehearsing. He'll be back May 6th, just so everyone has an idea where everyone is. But that is the official update. And on our couch, we do have our charity fitness winner, Jane Milne. Thanks so much. You came in from Australia.
Thank you.
Gave some great money to mental fitness.
Yes.
So went to a great charity for mental health. So we sure appreciate that.
And she's one of our biggest fans.
I know.
It's so cool.
No.
And she brought Tim Tams. I mean,
And she brought Tim Tams.
that is an Australian favorite.
It's
What's
kind of
Tim
amazing that you are here. You can say hi, Jane. There you go.
Hi.
Hi. We have lots of accents in the studio right now.
We have a couple of Aussies and one Russian.
Ruski.
One Russian, and you've got Midwest a little bit, and I'll represent New England. Come on.
All right, we'll
All
go
right,
with
just
it a
do
little.
it. Let's do it. All right, let's get started. And Henry, I'm glad you're here because you can kick off all these dances and give us the inside scoop. But
Yeah.
Mandy Moore, Party in the USA, was the opening number. So any inside scoop we can hear about it?
I mean, it was great. I loved it. I had a great time. Everyone had a great time doing it. What more is there to say? I mean,
Is Mandy Moore now officially kind of like the opening choreographer for the show? It feels like it this season.
I mean, it seems like it, and I love working with her. I mean, she comes in with all the ideas set out. We just flesh it out and work through the transitions. And she's actually probably one of the best choreographers to work with, honestly. There's never any sort of like, oh my God, let's, like it's 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. in the morning to start. You know how it is, Anna.
Yeah.
She's just hilarious, and she's always prepared, and so we always look
Positive.
forward
She's
to it.
also
This week,
positive.
though, is going to be amazing. This Ricky Martin week. Woo!
Off the
Just
charts.
wait for it,
Oh,
yeah.
I can't wait.
Inside scoop.
Yeah, well,
Teaser.
does she know like who she's partnering up together in terms of?
Oh, look, I think that's kind of set. It probably trickles down from the producers, or sometimes it doesn't even, whoever's learning the groups together, you just go, okay, that's the couple.
okay. I didn't know if they had certain placement. Like this week, we're going to feature PETA or someone and partner them with Tony.
I
or whatever.
wouldn't even know that. I
Yeah?
wouldn't even know that.
We'll have to find out some other. We'll have to have Mandy Moore on the show.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, we should.
We should do that.
Did you two like the opening number?
I thought it was simple this week compared to some other weeks, but they incorporated the contestants, so I think you're going to have more specific choreography that's easier for them to learn because they're at the crunch time where they're getting tired and everything
Of course.
else.
I mean, they had to learn how to shuffle. Like they were doing like the Running Man, and they were
Yeah.
doing like the Charleston, and they were doing I mean, that's hard. That's not easy to do.
Yeah.
It looks easy, it looks simple, but let's see you try and do it. Even Meryl was like, "Oh, damn! Wait, which arm is it? Okay, let's just use both arms."
You could tell it was counted slow. Like it was slow. Those movements.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, you could
toned
do it
down,
double
tone-
time.
Toned down. Yeah.
But we were doing
I think
single
it was
time.
it was great that it was. I like that it was simple, but I loved all the set changes, and they really went out for the whole ticket booth. By the way, my favorite part of the whole number is Len as the ticket salesman. The
highlight.
And he was so happy. Like he liked being in that spot versus being in the judges spot sometimes. So the whole like kind of an introduction with different areas and different camera work, I actually really enjoyed that. It was good TV spectacle.
Yeah, and it is fun when they start incorporating the contestants in, but they get to a point where they're like, we have to learn 3 dances this week or 2. It's a lot.
Mentally.
It's tough. Red Foo was our guest judge this week, or Bruno 2.0 as I kind of called him. It was a little too much for me, I have to be honest.
Yeah.
I wasn't thrilled.
Can we first talk about Bruno's outfit? I mean, what
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
let's talk
Because
about
we
that.
were just talking
we
about
were
that.
red tight outfit, which from
That showed his nipples.
1992.
It totally was 1992. It's like Johnny Versace is back.
It was.
good. That's
However, it works well for sort of the party anthems.
I mean, party anthems from
yeah, it
90s,
was
you know,
90s,
we had some of that.
Everybody
so-
dance now.
Exactly.
I
Totally works for that.
I was not a fan of the music this week.
Nipples.
Sorry, but we'll get
There are
there.
a couple of pieces that I liked, and then
Yeah,
a couple were like.
We'll get there.
Yeah. We'll have next week with Ricky Martin.
Let's talk about him as a judge. What do you think?
Red Foo as a judge?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, overall, I was not thrilled with him. I think it was, as I joked, I don't think they only gave him 9 and 10 paddles. I don't think he had 7s or 8s at all.
For real. Real.
It was a little bit,
real.
he got off on a tangent sometimes that I kind of was like, just reel it back in and focus. Because we have Bruno for that. And when you have 2, sometimes I'm like, okay, that's enough.
Well, my feeling was like he never even watched the show prior to this.
Probably
that
not.
was my feeling. Like he came in, he's like, "Yeah, cool. I'm judging the Dancing with the Stars. What? What's that? What's that?" And he kind of came in, and it just didn't feel he was like all the previous judges, celebrity judges. I would say, you know, obviously Donnie because he was on the show, but like I'm thinking Cher. Like she took her time and did her homework, and she was really, really good.
Share, it's your turn. Share.
But she
Definitely did her homework.
you know, but she did do her homework, and I feel like with Red Foo,
Red Foo, yep.
That's his real name.
Yeah, that's his birth name. It's not. It's his stage name.
Yeah. He was a little bit like out of his comfort zone in the sense of like he just wasn't prepared, so he was kind of pushing it a bit.
It was kind of like everything was like, yeah, awesome, yeah, you did, yeah, it was awesome.
And you're a crab and like the
Right.
crabs. Yeah.
I did like the crab thing.
You did.
It was funny. It was
I don't know, like you guys seem like such Debbie Downers. It was party anthem week. Who else would be better than Red Foo? I thought he was a breath of fresh air, to
Miley
be honest.
Cyrus?
Because
Yeah.
everyone, that's true. But everyone
was
comes
fun.
in as a judge. They've either been on the show or had some sort of affiliation with the show. You know, it was nice to see someone like that who obviously
Completely,
we knew that he had no idea technically of what's going on. But he gave performance, marks on performance, and I thought that was cool.
You know, the one thing, and we've seen this on So You Think You Can Dance, they sometimes bring in judges that are a little bit kind of out of left field. Zoe Deschanel and Carly Rae Jepsen come to mind, and they just don't work. And I kind of felt like Red Foo fell into that category versus when So You Think brings in like Jenna Elfman or Christina Applegate, when they add a little
Lady
bit more.
Gaga. Lady Gaga was amazing on So You Think.
Yeah, and I think that we see that on, Dancing with the Stars, and you can argue like, Julianne frustrates me with her marks or whatever she says, or
Julianne's
what Donnie
actually
said.
knows what she's talking about.
She knows what she's talking about, but Donnie does. You know, even Robin Roberts, I thought, added a lot of value.
Oh, Robin
so
Roberts is
she was
awesome.
great.
Well, I want to say, okay, yes, he was talking about performance, and what perhaps what was different is we were not in studio, and it didn't feel like party rock anthem for me. The show watching on TV, I didn't feel it. So in studio, you guys were remarking that it felt like a party in there and everything was awesome. For me, it didn't read that way. So maybe that's where I'm coming from with the judging and the lack of excitement for me on this episode this week.
Okay. Well, let's ask a person who's like a fan. What do you think, Jane?
I didn't love it all that much.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Here we go.
And it
Here's
was,
from the mouth of the viewer that is not biased, that just takes it as it is, right? It's
That's
like
it. Meh.
Why? Do you know
Yeah.
why?
I don't know. I don't know.
a little uneven, I think. I think the dances, like, there were some really good and some that were okay, and I
Yes.
just think it didn't deliver
Yeah.
the way it normally does.
Yes, it didn't deliver like it normally does. That's right.
There were definitely highlights. I mean, there was a lot of things I did like. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. There's
there's a lot of positives about this.
Yes.
This
Yeah,
last night.
wasn't my favorite week. That's all.
Okay, well, let's get into some of the positives and
Yeah.
see what everyone liked, because the very first dance of the night was Nene and Tony doing the salsa in the club. Okay, I'm going to throw this out there right away. Was this a salsa? A lot of people I saw on Twitter were saying it's kind of hip hop-ish. And we're dealing with a lot of fusion dances this year. And I understand that that's the direction dance is going in general, outside of even Dancing with the Stars. But what did we think on content?
I did see a lot of salsa basic and salsa recognizable moves. If you actually go to salsa competitions, you can barely see a salsa there. I mean, there's like a few basics, but they almost unrecognizable because they're so fast and syncopated. And then it's like trick, like a basic salsa with a loop turn, and then trick. So there was enough salsa content for me, and I thought she nailed it. I agree that it was their best week. They looked like they were having fun. I really enjoyed watching them together. Their chemistry together is always good, but something was extra special this time. It's like they went over hurdle and they reconciled, came back stronger. It was really, really pleasant to watch.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw, at least 3 back breaks, and crossbody leads, which is what you want to see. And I mean, who's to say, whenever you watch a dance, if you watch salsas or rumbas or whatever, how much actual content is in there, and then when that's actually put under spotlight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think this, given the song, given Nini's vibe and where they went with it, I thought they included a lot of content, and stuff that really brings out her personality, and hence why it was probably one of their best weeks. So I mean, I give it up to Tony for that, for sure.
And for taking off his shirt yet again.
Hell yeah.
Was that necessary?
You know what?
No.
Except the song was, it's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. Who's going to take off their clothes? It's not going to be Nini.
Well,
Tony is when you're jacked up after training as hard as he is.
He's happy with his body. He's
40 years old, he looks amazing.
He does.
If you're happy with your body, maybe you should take off your clothes. You know what I mean? Like,
I do it all the time. I do it all the time.
Let's get go. No, I'm just kidding.
the naked version of AfterBuzz TV. What'd you think? Suri?
I think I'm in the minority. It wasn't my favorite. I'm sitting here listening to you guys, and I don't disagree with you, but for me, it was very middle of the road, and it bothers me that she's in almost flats every week, or
She's almost
feet.
taller than him.
I know that,
Yep.
but it just, I don't know. It just, God, I wish I could say a lot of positive things, and I don't disagree with Anna or Henry. I just didn't love it.
I mean, their scores were 8-9, 8-8. So, I mean, if you take out Red Foo's 9, because he only had a 9 or a 10 paddle, I'm convinced.
Clearly.
So if we look at like 3 8s across the board from the judges, I mean, I felt like that was very consistent and with what she's been scoring and what she's been doing and capable of.
Fair.
Yeah, I think it's fair. You would have given her a 7?
I think the scoring last night was not.
I don't think that they were the ones that, there's a few other people that I think I was like, what the heck?
Right.
I think the 8s were fair. I mean, she
if
did.
they had done something wrong or made a mistake or something like that,
Yeah.
then you could mark that down, I would say.
No,
Yeah.
she was solid.
Okay. We're going to move on to Candace and Mark and doing the cha-cha. I have to say, she looked amazing in that dress.
One of the best dressed. One of my 2 best dressed.
Yes.
I loved his shoes. I was like, I want that.
Yes.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about Candace because I've been hearing from a lot of the fans. She's a very likable personality. I have grown to love her even more. Like each week, she's very genuine and authentic, and I love that comes across. I feel like she's being underscored slightly, even though I understand that there's some hesitations and that there's some maybe confidence issues with her. But I mean, what is everyone thinking, and what are you guys seeing?
For me, I think she's better than Nini. So she
I do
she
too.
should be being
I agree.
scored better than Nini. Like, she got all 8s. That's about the same as Nini. So I don't understand that, first of all. I think she was good. Not as great as I feel like we
Her
all
legs
could
looked good,
see
though,
her
I thought.
be. Yes, no, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. I agreed with Bruno saying that she had moments of brilliance. I definitely agreed with that. And I don't know what else
You
to
can
say.
kind of see when her feet escape her a little bit. She gets a little too wide in her stance.
I think firstly you're spot on about her being genuine, because being there the first couple of weeks with Diana, Candace was one of the few people that would come up to us on just any occasion she could, and she would just be super sweet, super supportive. Something that you can just tell a person is warm when they have that type of, they come up and say, how are you doing? And this looks good. She's lovely like that. I think the judges' remarks were spot on. I think that she does have like a sort of switch on and off where she gets a little bit in her head and then she comes out. I think Mark's doing a fantastic job with her. It just really comes down to her and her confidence. And I think that's where the disparity of the scoring is happening as well, because Nini comes out. Do you see Nini go into herself, introvert, and then no. She's pretty consistent. She's either really happy or she's just like mute. You know what I mean? And she's barely ever mute. So you know what I mean? And so because of that, I think that's what's picking her up. People are responding to that more because they're like, well, yes, this is party anthem week. We want to see someone that's having a great time. And did Candace step up? Hell yeah. So, you know, I think next week is going to be interesting.
Oh, I can't wait.
Right. First of all, I agree about her outfit and her hair, and I just think she looked beautiful yet again this week. And she did have some moments where like those lock steps that she did were really good, and this is one of the hardest basic elements to do. I mean, I was competing and I always used to hate my lock steps, and I constantly would work on them because it's such a simple step. It's like 3 steps and you cross your legs, but it's like it's just annoying. So props to her. Inconsistent, yes. To me, the inconsistency comes with you know, her going into her head and starting to, when she does that, there's like this nervous energy around her, and then she starts to get a little bit like a little young girl running around, you know. And she's a woman, she's a mother, she is very strong person internally. And I would love to see that, like when she's in interviews, you just feel that energy from her of this confidence, and that's
she's
what
grounded.
she talked about. Yeah, she's like, I think confidence and sexy is sexy. I agree with her. So would love to see that translate into her movement. So she stays on her foot a little bit longer. She extends her lines a little bit longer. So she's not going, oh, I got to hit this and I got to hit this. And it's just like she gives herself check marks. And then I have laundry, and then I have a meeting with my kids' school, and then I have da-da-da-da-da. Like she gives herself checklists. And in dancing, yes, you do that in rehearsal. And then you just let it fly and you just go, you know what, screw everything. Let me just go. I have not felt that from her yet.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll see something next week. I think Mark's doing great work with her. I thought the choreography was fantastic. So
on point.
It's been a really nice partnership, I think. So that was straight 8s across the board. And again, I do feel like she's been that quick step a few weeks ago with Tony. I was so
underscored.
furious.
She's always underscored, and that's true. I feel like, well, then she deserves a 9.
Red Fu could have thrown in a 9 there. Come on.
Right.
Oh, he did have an 8 paddle. Look at that.
He did have
Disproven.
He had an 8 paddle.
He didn't have a 7 panel. But, you know, and here's the other thing. I think we're also, you know, I've heard from some of the fans saying that they're making a real push to save Candace because I think people feel like she's the next to go. So there's been a big push on Facebook for her. So we'll see what happens next week.
Nice.
Yep. All right, next we go on to Peta and James doing the quick step. For them, after coming off of, you know, their contemporary last week, this was not my favorite. I did see him struggle in the footwork a little bit. Quick step is not easy, but I saw some sickled feet and it drove me bananas. You know me and my sickled foot. It goes.
I spotted a couple and I thought of you.
It's the second like the dead fish.
So then you must hate every single couple that have danced on the show. Come on.
No,
except
honestly,
Meryl.
well, yeah, she keeps it amazing.
But sometimes when
actually.
they're really obvious, like he was doing sort of like a ronde de jambe.
It's just so
He
hard.
was like,
I think a lot of pros do it too. You know, it happens. I've seen myself do it. It's one of those things. You must. Wow. I'm gonna be so self-conscious
He's like,
next time. Turn it out. Fish that foot.
Well, all right. What did you know? We'll go right to you for
Yeah,
the quick step. Let's go.
You know, I got the benefit of seeing the dress run, and honestly, it was on point. It was amazing. I was so impressed with him and how much Peter actually got him to do, because it was a really tough routine, but how slick it was, how together it was. He was performing it, you know, and then when he came into the actual show, for some reasons, he just seemed like he was just a little bit in his head, just a little bit. And you know, when he's not, he's amazing.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
He's been great.
So it's tough because it was a tough routine and it was big, you know, and it had a lot of different moments in it. but yeah, just the dress one was the one. You know, I hate it when that happens.
And the pressure of the 40. I mean, you do have the pressure of that perfect score from the week before.
And that's probably what
It's
it was.
mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt even if in their package, I'm like, ooh, he's allowing this perfect 40 linger with him for a little bit too long. It's like, dude, that's last week. Let it go. Let it go.
Oh my gosh.
Pun
Don't put
intended.
that in my head. That's stuck there for a
For
week.
days.
So yeah, so you can't really look back in the way and say, oh, I had a perfect 40 and then I have to get another perfect 40, and that puts a lot. Because I feel he put a lot of pressure on himself because of that.
Unnecessary.
It's like a brand new dance, quick step, a totally different dance, very demanding from male celebrities. And I would say in every ballroom dance, when it comes down to close hold and frame, it's much tougher on the male celebrities than it is on the female celebrities. I'll just throw it out there.
Sorry.
I actually liked it. I really enjoyed it. He's been surprising me all season long, and every week I'm more impressed. And granted, I get your points about him and this week and getting in his head a little bit, and the dress rehearsal was the one. I liked it. I had
And his
fun.
posture was better. Just by the way.
fun.
No, that's good.
He's really fun to watch.
He's in it to win it, and I think that's nice. He's going to be, easily top 4. I think so.
Yes, I would go with
Yeah,
that.
I mean,
Possible. He's cute. Women
he's
like
adorable.
And he's sweet as well. He's not he's not fake. You know, he's a very genuine, nice guy. Always very civil. He's conversational. You know, it doesn't matter if you're his partner or somebody he's never met. He will spend time and talk to you and get to know you.
That's
I like
wonderful.
that. I like those qualities. His scores were 9, 9, 8, 9. So I don't think he should be upset by any.
Not at all.
No,
Not at all.
I mean, super happy about that. We're going to skip, before we go to Macy's Stars Dance, we're going to go down to Danica and Val doing the cha-cha.
Whoa.
Wow. All right. So, Danica, I feel like last week, I wasn't here last week, but I felt like last week was her breakthrough week.
Yes.
And I feel like she's feeling that confidence, and I'm starting to see it from her.
Yes.
And I felt like we saw that in the cha-cha this week.
Sorry.
Go ahead, sorry.
I agree with her from her package that she's a contender because of Val. 100%. I mean, I think Val is just unreal with what he does with every partner he gets. He takes somebody that's like okay at movement and makes them great.
Yes.
That's what I see every week, and wow, what a number.
He drills it into him.
Yeah.
He's not easy in rehearsal.
And here's the thing. Has Danica got this incredible talent and potential? Yes. Has she done Latin and stuff before? Yes. She's open about that.
Yep.
So is she someone that is not familiar with movement, like ballroom movement? No. She is familiar with it, but not to the extent that Val's taking her to. I mean, he does an incredible job. And it's not only because the thought process, the talent, the teaching ability. It's also he drills it. They rehearse like demons. Honestly, every moment that show, I was taken aback, and I caught them every moment. Whenever I was on stage or sitting down, in the corner of my eye, I see them rehearsing, drilling in that count.
Wow.
And so when they come out and you see it, that's why if you watch her angles, sometimes if you're not watching like that focused, she looks like a pro dancer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Her lines are beautiful. She's got great movement, and the choreography is fantastic. So, is she a contender? Course.
Yeah, she definitely is. And I think, watching, if we go back a few seasons, what Val did with Kelly Monaco, I will always say that, because Kelly Monaco winning season 1, I was like, what?
That rumba
right.
that they did, if you watch their rumba again, you should go and watch it. It is phenomenal. Watch her back basic. Just when she steps back and he's leading forward, it's to get that the way she got it because of his teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
She definitely, that routine was really complicated rhythmically and dynamically and changing directions. I mean, it was full on professional level routine, and she definitely kept up and had her emotion and was fully committed. And I was actually most impressed with the way she placed her feet.
Yeah.
Which is like the hardest thing to do, because you can fake the lines, just stick your arm there. You can fake the attitude. You can fake sometime even the body movement. But the way you place your feet in time with the music, that's just pure work and practice and practice and practice. So, yay. And those abs,
Oh my gosh, she's got like the best stomach I've ever
What
seen.
is that?
Oh my God.
Amazing.
We were watching it again when we got here to the studio, and I was like, "What is that? Like, how do you do that? Even with the spray tan, I'll never
Yeah.
look like that. Like,
This is like fake, like a little thing just go click.
I know. I need like a little like ab belly something. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I thought that was great. What did you think of her cha-cha?
Me?
Yeah.
I told you. I loved it. It was the whole thing was awesome. I thought I already said that in the beginning. No?
Yeah, she did.
I didn't know if I had more to
I thought
elaborate.
you were gonna say something different.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you have anything else? The one thing about Danica, I know a lot of people have focused in. Oh, she's a ringer and she's had all this training and everything else. But I know. But I feel like
wouldn't say she's a ringer.
No, because I feel like she's been building each week, and I felt like last week was the week she broke through, and the arms, which we've been kind of picky about. I only caught it twice of her throwing away the arms, so that's even improving. And I'm like, but it's great because you see the improvement week to week. I think that's super important that is going away because that was driving me nuts. Okay, 4 9s, 36. That was great.
Perfect. Yeah, that's what she definitely delivered.
I don't know. I thought.
Would you give her a 10 somewhere in
It's
there?
so what they did, like it was so hard and it was so good. You know, I kind of thought you could have slipped in a 10 there.
Here
I
and
would
there.
agree with Henry because of all the other 9s that other couples got that I don't think should have gotten.
It's
that.
relative. You know, if you get one of the other celebrities, you know, to do that cha-cha,
Yeah.
not going to be able to do that. Like not all of them. You know what I mean? They at that level. That's
Meryl.
why I'm kind of like 10. Yeah, I mean Meryl probably could, you know, but
Meryl
I'm saying
and Danica and maybe Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of the others.
But Charlie didn't even.
But I mean,
Charlie's
yeah.
been underscored too.
Well, we'll talk about
Yeah,
it.
we'll get there.
Okay.
All right. So we could have thrown in Red Food could have thrown in a 10.
I thought Red Food could have just gone 10.
I actually
certainly-
think like Carrie Ann could have thrown in, or even Bruno could. I mean, one of them could have thrown in a 10.
He gave Nene a 9, the same score as that. So
What-
that's for me. It's like
No, but see, Len could have given a 10. I mean, because technically it was great.
It was really good.
And that's where usually Len goes and gives the 10, even if there's.
Do not underscore Danica, judges, because we don't want to lose her. She's a good dancer. We want good dancing.
Yeah, and I mean, they were in jeopardy. How accurate is that? You know, because it's never, you know, everyone has the low, you know,
Right.
obviously not. But I just don't like seeing someone that level, that good in jeopardy. I mean, I don't like seeing anyone in jeopardy.
Or let's talk about You're in Jeopardy, Let's Dance. You had that done to you.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about that because they did it last night. They did
Sure.
it to you guys, and poor
Yeah.
Diana didn't think she was going to dance.
Well, we
that
had
night.
we had a kind of different. We got told we
You
were
were
going
done, right?
home.
It was awful. It's even
We did,
worse.
you know, we
We were
spent
so
the
mad
whole
about
week preparing, dancing. She did some amazing transformative stuff. You know, we even
did.
started on rumba for the next week after that, and she had a beautiful connection with it because it was the most memorable year because it was about her mother. And anyway, I could go into it for days, but you know, we had a little bit different. They just were like, okay, double elimination. We kind of knew it was going to be us, so go home. Oh, you can dance. You know, like it was kind of like, oh my God. Okay,
She
what do we
nailed
do?
it, though.
But she killed it.
She was so
I was
good.
so proud of her because I thought that can really rattle someone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked a lot about it, and
Yeah.
we said that if she would not be such a sportswoman, such
Yeah.
an athlete in mind too, I you know, somebody else in her shoe would just like fall apart. But
Yeah.
she kept it together, and she delivered.
She did, and I have to say that I got so lucky to have her in the sense that she did everything she could. She was in it.
Yeah.
You know, she was
She
just
loved
in
the
it.
show.
Every moment she got, she was just like she was beaming. You know what I mean? And yes, this is an elimination show, so of course that's part of it, and we understand that and everything like that. I mean, totally. But you know, I would have loved to spend a little bit more time with her. But anyway, we're gonna catch up later. So.
what did you say to her right before you danced when you knew you were eliminated? Because what an awful way that the
Yeah,
show.
and
We
she
were
said,
so
"We're not
mad at the show
dancing."
that they did it. But what did you say to her?
I mean, it's you know, it's for the drama of it. Totally understand. I just, you know, I didn't even need to say anything to her. I don't know if you caught what I said on the thing. I just said to her, let's just go and kill it. Let's have a great time. We've got nothing to lose now, you know. And she said exactly the same thing back to me. She's like, let's kill this, you know. And we did. We
Nice.
came out and we
So
just,
good.
it was so liberating. It was a wonderful feeling, except
She
that we
looked
had
awesome.
to go.
She had that red dress. She looked amazing in that dress.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I yelled at Conrad Green on this show that I was very upset for you. So I was like,
That's all right.
Let
I'm
me
sure it
tell
wasn't.
you.
I'm sure it wasn't his fault, you know.
that's why he doesn't have his. No, he's moving on to another show.
That's a whole
Not going there.
He's moving on to another show. It's fine. He's employed. Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about iTunes because that's the time of the show when we
Yes.
say, don't forget to download us, the podcast on iTunes, and rate us 5 stars every single week. We love your comments, not only on iTunes, of course, on YouTube as well. And I know you guys have been tweeting us a whole lot, and now we're doing mime work. So thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast and for the video each and every week. Now I want to go back and talk about Macy's Stars of Dance.
What?
Yes, which you participated in this week,
Big-
choreographed by Derek and Allison Holker.
Nice.
Big shout out to Derek and Allison. I mean, I've never worked with Allison. I've seen her work. She is
nominated.
a beast. The girl is just full out everything
Yeah.
she does. So when she's guys, maybe it's like she's not going like 1, 2, 1. She's like boom, but it's crazy.
She's full out, yeah.
Derek is just phenomenal. I love working with him. He's just got such a great creative mind. So the two of them together, it was like we knew this was going to be great.
So give us the behind the scenes process, the rehearsal, because that stage was a little bit complicated, a lot of lighting effects and everything.
Yeah.
How were you guys working with that, and when did you come to working with all the sets and the lights and everything?
Wait, and also how much time did you actually rehearse it? Because as pros, I know you guys pick up quickly.
Yeah. So in terms of rehearsal, we had Wednesday and Thursday, 4 hours. And then Friday, Saturday off. Sunday, we had like probably 2 hours and blocking. Oh my God. Wow. So in the scheme of things, as I'm saying it, I'm like, yeah, it works. But from an outsider's perspective, with the intricacy of it, because there's bits that we're doing and it's speeding up as we're doing it, and we have to be a group,
Yeah,
so
and synchronization.
that's very difficult. But and plus the crowd's going nuts when you start, so you can't hear that tick tick tick. So anyway, time wise, yeah, it was short. One of the things I noticed, because we didn't get I think we had the stage immediately. Yeah, we did. We had the whole setup immediately,
Okay.
But we didn't know where the cryo guys were going to be, and so all of that changed on the night. And so much did change because of shots and things like that. But one of the things that did change was the lighting that would go on, like it would white screen, so you would miss a lot of the routine during the rehearsals. So we were just like, oh no, but. The end performance was, you saw everything.
So,
Fantastic.
question, you pre-taped that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you had to
Of
because of
course.
all the set changes.
no way.
It would have been impossible.
But it was really fun. I mean, I literally felt watching this like I was just watching a concert, and it could have been, Janet Jackson concert. To me, it felt like a bit like
Right.
Janet Jackson.
It was fierce.
It would have been great
and
to be
Philip
there.
Shabib, let's give a shout out.
Oh
He's
my
incredible.
God, Philip is amazing. And Seth and Donald, the two trickers that were
Right.
doing
Yeah,
all that
they were
crazy
awesome.
stuff. Amazing. Like these people are the best in the industry.
Yes.
So
This was one of my favorite numbers ever, and I loved it for the pros as well. You guys must have loved doing non-ballroom, just awesome, incredible, intense dance.
of course,
together.
not all of us are strictly ballroom trained, so it is like a breath
He's
of fresh
talking
air.
about himself, actually.
No, not just me, but like, Lindsay,
Bachelor
Lindsay,
women.
Whitney, Derek, like these people, and I'm sure there's others I just can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a breath of fresh air, and it's a great variety act for the show, I think, because this show is just such a platform for dance, so why not?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It was awesome.
And we've been saying, it's so great that Macy's is back, and
Yes,
it
exactly.
just offers so much more opportunity for choreography and creativity, and exposes people to more styles of dance. So we were happy about that.
Yay.
All right, moving into the ladder dances. Meryl and Max doing the tango.
Oh my gosh.
Who wants to talk about it? Because the last few weeks, every time we talk about Max, it's
I'll
like
go-
I
I'll
have
go
to
first.
start.
That's
Well,
fine.
let's go to the package first for Psychology 101, Max and Meryl.
Okay, I have several opinions on that actually.
Yeah.
I love that he had his guard down with the camera in the room.
Thank the
and
Lord.
shared himself. That was refreshing.
Yeah.
I love that she's intuitive enough to know what's going on with him. And I feel like because of what her personality is and her energy versus him, it is a great balance.
And she's
that's
got her
part of the-
Olympic mental game.
Yes, and part of the intensely amazing, perfect chemistry with this couple. Yeah, that's what I have to say about the package.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I agree with Suri. It's very refreshing seeing Max after 13 seasons actually saying, yeah, I am freaked out. Yes, it is intimidating in the way, and it is a lot of pressure, and absolutely. So it's like, thank you. You mean you, just like everybody else, you have blood and you bleed? Like, we'd like to know that as viewers. And I mean, obviously, I know Max for a long time, and it's taken him a little bit to get to there. It's a huge step for him, and I'm actually very, very proud of him. I think that's just wonderful. Like, on the human level for him as a friend, I'm very, very proud of him for doing this.
Absolutely. Yep.
I'm just so happy to be on a season with Max. You know, and I mean, my first season as a pro, but also to see him back on the show. I think he represents such a big part of this show, you know, from the get-go. And I think he's done so much to add to the show for us as well. So to see him on, it's you know, apart from him being a very good friend of mine, it is just wonderful. The fact that him and Meryl are together is unbelievable, because the chemistry, there's no faking that chemistry, you know what I mean? She's super sweet. He's also sweet, and she brings out that side as well, and obviously that genuine honesty from him comes out. You know, week by week, it is tough to come up, but when you have someone that you could push to the limit, it is hard to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to push it again this week, you know, and week by week, and then, you know, people look at you as a front runner or whatever the
a lot of pressure.
Right.
Yeah, it is a lot of pressure, but he's doing a phenomenal job with her. She's doing a phenomenal job as well. With him and with herself.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy. You know, it's not easy to just jump into it and do it, you know, and I had the benefit and the pleasure to work with them today for just something coming up, you know, and I could see it, you know, I could see how she's not like just going into it and going wham, 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 like a professional dancer would.
Yep.
She is going through all of that. So I don't know, I'm so impressed with them, and every time they come out, it's like amazing, you know. I'm really happy.
Well,
with it.
I feel like all of us here, you know, looking from the outside, I mean, this is a great view that you get from the inside, being right there. Looking from the outside, we felt like she was held down a little bit, like we felt like she needed to be challenged more and challenged more and challenged more. But I was thinking actually today about this situation. I'm like, well, I've missed, Max has not been on the show for a full year, and then, you know, like I haven't been on the show, and it's like, let's say if if they call me and like, hey Anna, we want you to the season on the show for whatever reason, and they'll give me somebody as good as Meryl, or let's say Charlie, I would freak out. I mean, I would be running around like a chicken with my head cut off and be like, holy cow, I have not done that same type of work under pressure. I mean, I've, you know, always choreograph and stuff, but it's you take your time and you have lesson, and then the week later they come in, you get to fix it and stuff. This is a real pressure cooker, and then there's so much expectation, and we talked about it a lot, and it is like on a professional level, I can relate to him. Like, it takes a little bit of time to gain that momentum back. And I feel like this was the week that, he's back. Like, I just remember him with Mel B, and that dude was on fire with her. And now I feel like this is the level that we've been expecting from Meryl
And from Max.
And Max from the get-go. And I feel he hit the stride, and I do feel that sort of a mental vulnerability, relaxation kind of caused it. So again, I give my props to him. I think that those perfect scores, those 10s were
totally fair.
Totally
Oh,
fair.
but it wasn't only for Meryl, it was also for Max.
But
So-
this was Max's breakthrough week, don't you
Yeah,
think? That's what it felt
absolutely.
like.
What I want to add to what you just said, which is, and Tony has said this before, it's almost harder to choreograph when you have somebody really, really good. And
Yeah.
and for me as a choreographer too, when I get somebody that is amazing, you like are racking your brain. Like what you want it to be at that level
extra
that they
push.
can do. Yeah.
But another
for sure.
thing that Meryl does is, we've been talking a lot, like we've been wanting Max to push her, but she also makes everything look effortless.
Yeah.
So then we're looking like, this looks so
God.
easy for her. We want
Right.
harder. So, from a viewer's eye, sometimes we're like, we want that push more. But I just felt this week, I was like, it was hot. It was tense. It was suspenseful.
Beautiful.
Every single
Yes.
moment was beautiful.
Can I just say she reminded me when she came out of Madonna because
Yes.
of her costume. Did
Yes.
you feel that way? I was like that.
Totally Madonna. It's express yourself, isn't it? It was totally the express
So
yourself.
Gorgeous.
That was the
I like,
inspiration.
oh
amazing.
yes, I want to jump in there. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, it was probably one of my favorite outfits of the night. Yeah.
And remember, they were traveling to the East Coast. I mean,
Were they as well?
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. I
Yep.
mean, they're going to be traveling the whole time. So can you imagine that pressure on top of that?
Correct.
So it's not.
tiring.
It's just not that easy.
And they
you
were
know
in
what I mean?
Manchester, New Hampshire. That's kind of my neck of the woods where I grew up. It's remote. It's not like you're not going to Boston. You're going
It's so funny because they showing, well, it was more with Charlie's package. They showed the studios where they practice. I'm like, oh my God, I've been to that studio with Evan. Yeah.
It's like the local dance school or something.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, totally. I remember that studio. Yeah, with fake flowers with dust bunnies.
Yep, they've been there since 1972.
Hey, it's good. They're very homey, very cute. They treat you really, really well.
I bet they do. They're very
there.
excited for you to be there. Okay, perfect scores. Scorty.
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 Love a good Scorty.
There's your hashtag for the week.
Hashtag it is. And a Scorty for a 40. But let's move on to Drew and Cheryl. Also doing a tango, which I kind of felt like, did you have to put these two back to back? It wasn't fair.
Yeah, because
not fair.
It's not fair because you just had like this killer tango from a male pro as well. And here comes Drew, a male celebrity. And you just don't, I mean, even though you understand he's a celebrity, your mind just subconsciously starts to compare the one before to the one right after. And it's like,
Why did they do that?
Had to do that? Like, why didn't you put him somewhere else?
I get what you guys are saying, but for me that didn't happen.
No?
I
was
got it
able
right
to
away.
separate it.
Good.
That's so, yeah, I would. Maybe I'm the only one.
I just
that
thought
could do
tango
that, but-
against tango. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Don't lay tango on tango. Leave one tango and then spruce it with a little.
you had
something,
8
something,
dances.
and
Make
then-
it number 2.
It made me sad when he said he felt like it was his week. And
He felt defeated, I
was
thought. Yeah.
It's so, it's so disappointing that, I looked at him in that first week when we all came out and I was like, wow, holy guacamole. Like he came out and like nailed the dance. I couldn't believe it. It was like that Monopoly theme thing.
Yes.
Oh my God. So I was like,
Hasbro
wow.
paid.
I was like, wow, he's a real, contender in a way because he represents something on the show that only he represents.
Yes.
And week by week, I thought he was starting to get better and better. And then there came a point where it just sort of, I think mentally he stepped out of it. Not, I think, because he wanted to, but I think he was spreading himself thin because Price is Right. Plus, he was doing a stand-up tour or something like that. And when you're engaged into these things, plus Dancing with the Stars, which is its own beast in itself, I mean, that's tough. And especially if you're not, of that sort of mindset where it's like competition, it's tough, So I think that's where he came undone.
It's too bad
unfortunately.
because I really enjoyed his.
I loved him
I loved
personally
him.
behind the scenes. He was so nice. I couldn't believe it. Like I was taken aback a couple of times where he would come up to me and talk to me and just, how are you going? I really love the way you dance. And we would just have conversations. I'm like, is Drew Carey really
Talking
caring
to me?
about what I, you know what I mean? Like,
It's sweet. He has a lot of heart, I think, that he showed on the show too,
Yeah.
which was very genuine.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's disappointing.
Very
me.
disappointing. I love the wink he gave it in the routine. Oh my God, I screamed out loud. I think Jane actually heard me.
She did.
I really liked him a lot, and I was bummed to see him go. I thought it could have been Nene.
Yeah, I had predicted Nene for this week. I think you were the only one that predicted Drew.
I
too.
did,
Yeah.
but I could have let the other one go.
I also just want to say that the fact that his first week's performance was so good and all the other performances, besides him himself coming out of the routine, mentally, I thought Cheryl just did a phenomenal job. Because when I heard Drew Carey was on the show and then I saw him, I was like, wow, like I grew up watching him. So he looked completely different to me. So I thought, wow, well, this is going to be interesting. And then when they did that first week's dance, and the dances, after that, I was just so impressed with the choreography.
Yeah.
you know?
I feel like he really was going really, really strong. Last week, I mean, Disney week was great for him. And then it's just this week that, again, I don't even think he was technically, because technically he had a bit of an oopsie in the routine, but he actually kept it strong for his level and, had a good posture and good frame and was there for Cheryl. He did almost drop her at some point.
But he didn't.
He can
But
be
he
cute.
did not. But he did not.
So he was there for her.
Yeah. So I really feel like that was just mental.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
It's so
back
unfortunate.
back to this conversation how much this is a mental show, not only a physical show, and how it's really mind over matter. Like those two connect, and the mind wins.
Mine does win.
That's wonderful.
Scores were all over the map. 8, 9, 7, 8.
So essentially, he should be getting like 3
Eights or something, yeah.
3
Yeah.
eighths. Yep. All right, and he was the one to go home this week, sadly. We move into Charlie and Sharna doing the cha-cha. To everybody dance.
I have an
now.
inside
can't stand
scoop.
that song.
I can't stand that song. That's a weird song to do a cha-cha to, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think it was easy.
No, it was a bit. You kind of have to like again pick and choose, and I think what she went with in sense of the sort of the rave feeling, I guess, is great for that song. She brought the 90s in, but it did like they were like, we want to see hip action from you, and it wasn't a song to make you want to go ooh and ah and ooze your hips and move your body rhythmically. It was very don't. It was very staccato. It almost felt like it could have maybe even be a better tango or paso.
Or paso, yeah.
It was very like staccato. It wasn't smooth and slinky for a cha-cha. I do have some inside scoop though.
Oh, give it.
Yeah, I showed myself up on the set on Sunday
With cute baby Amalia.
with cute baby Amalia. Yes.
Showed myself
Yeah.
I'm a baby.
Yeah, we went and we got to see Charlie and Sharna perform. They were the last to go with their rehearsal for the day, and we got to see them and we got to chat. And what he was saying in the package is really true, because he is starting to get a little bit tired with the kind of schedule they have. And maybe because of that, when I watched yesterday on the telly, I just felt like he lost a little bit of that energy. Like he just looked a little bit tired to me. Not in his, the routine was still very, very good, but just like there was a little bit like of throwing things away. He wasn't quite
As sharp, maybe.
as sharp and as you want the energy, especially for cha-cha, something as dynamic. You want it to be bubbling inside of you. You don't want to be like throwing it away, because anytime you throw it away, it's so much harder to pick it back up. It's like you want it to fuel you, and it's like feeling rage, emotion, but covering it and bubbling and bubbling, but in sense of more of a feel. And not, don't be, I'm not telling him to go and be angry. No, I'm just comparing it to, it's kind of like having that fire inside of you, but it does take a lot out of you to maintain that. And I just feel he let the moves loose and out too much, so it just looked to me tired in comparison to last week Jazz, which was so sharp and so good.
And this is the other thing. A lot of people are feeling that he's being underscored on a lot of his routines. He got all 9s here, but last week, I don't care that the cane dropped. I really don't.
Yeah,
That was
it
a
doesn't matter.
packed routine, and it was so well choreographed, and it was amazing. And I got frustrated for him last week because of that.
Yeah.
This week I felt like I was okay with the 9s, but
I agree. I think, firstly,
You were giving me a funny eye, by the way, when I was talking about the energies. Like, what do you?
no, because I was thinking, and what hit me about that comment was when he's dancing, when he's on the ice, and you watch him, he's got. Firstly, I think he's got like a Baryshnikov-esque quality
Yes.
to him when
Yeah.
he moves, especially he looks it in the face.
Yeah.
But his moves are extremely fluid. Watch the contemporary from week 1.
Yeah.
That's his natural state of being.
Right.
And cha-cha, especially with such a staccato sounding song, it's going to be difficult to go, dun, dun, you know what I mean, for someone who's so
To hit
used to
it
having all of that
fluid.
movement. So that's where I think it came from. Obviously, he's probably, it's taking a toll on him as well, being touring and whatever. So that probably comes into it as well. I agree. But that's where I thought it was coming from. So that was that look. But on the flip side, I'm looking at it. Charlie is in the same position that Meryl is in the
Yeah.
sense that there's a pressure not only on Charlie but on Shana as well.
Absolutely.
Because I don't think he's gotten any 10s yet, or well, he's probably
Here and there.
here
Like
and there,
a 10,
right? But like
but
a
not a
solid
full.
score of 10s,
Not 40,
and I
yeah,
think
or
that's
30.
what they, they're gunning for that. I mean, so is everybody else, but they're trying everything they can within the limits of what they've got to get that and achieve that. And is he being underscored? I think so. I think he's doing some amazing stuff. Was it the best dance? No, it wasn't the best dance that he's had so far.
Carrie Ann said in her blog today, she said, I'm waiting for the two of them, Sharna and Charlie, to surprise me.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think they're gonna have a week where it just goes, it's all this critical mass is building where they're searching for it, and it's just going to go like that.
That's good though, because the thing is, even though I want to get back to this, and maybe this is what's gonna happen, even though this staccato sharp movement is not his natural, but I really feel he should master it because he still has tango, he still has paso doble.
He has paso doble next
He
week.
has, here we go, he has Argentine tango. He has the dances that he could really, and he has jive. Has he done jive?
Jive.
He hasn't done
He did
jive,
quick
hasn't.
step,
I
right?
think he has. Was happy.
Happy was a jive.
That was
Yeah,
jive.
that was
Jive.
jive. Okay, all right. So he done jive. So, but he has these dramatic dances, this really passionate dances coming up. So if he can get a little bit of that contained fire, you contain it. Even though I have my own accent and it sounds something like something else, but just nail it and do it, and I think that's going to be a big breakthrough for him.
Yeah.
We'll see with
That's
Paso
the
next
growth.
week. And I didn't mention before, Meryl
Yeah,
has salsa.
don't like swim when you do paso doble. Like hit it, like chops. Don't swim in it, okay? Because he has tendency to swim.
Did you hear that? Don't swim.
Don't swim.
Don't
swim your paso.
Don't swim
Be
on
like
Dancing with the Stars.
chopstick.
Freestyle.
Hiya!
Breaststroke. Butterfly.
And Meryl has, I don't know everyone's dances, but Meryl has salsa next week, just in case anyone didn't hear that.
good.
Yeah. Final dance of the night, Amy and Derek doing the jive. I loved this concept. I love the whole
Very
wedding
cute.
crasher thing.
Make me wanna shout.
So amazing.
So well
It was
done.
So amazing. Props to her for doing a cartwheel at the end of her routine. I also one of my I think maybe my favorite costume of the night. I thought it was absolutely breathtaking. The especially the top half of her white dress.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Stunning.
Inside
and she
scoop
is amazing.
coming up.
Yes, please. What is
So
it?
Do it.
during dress rehearsal, that cartwheel, she pulled it off and knocked Derek's elbow, like boom, carbon fiber to your elbow. Oh. So they finished a routine with him on the ground like that, because I mean, carbon fiber to a bone, you just don't know what's going to happen. And so he was there, ice immediately, and then he slowly moved it, and he was like, it hurts, but it was okay. So it was.
Oh my gosh.
That was like, we were all like, no, because we were in that number with them, and so yeah.
Wow.
That was a technical jive. Let's talk about that. That had
There's a lot of jive content.
There was a lot of jive
definitely.
content. I was pretty impressed with that. And you know, we've been talking about scores, and if we go back last week to Charlie dropping the cane, which I don't care that he dropped the cane.
Whatever, yeah.
You know, and she had a couple small fumbles on. It looked like balance on some
And
of the lifts.
I feel like this probably in the rehearsal was one of those moments where she nailed it every single time in the rehearsal, and it was one of the easiest things for her because, you know, kind of Derek is like responsible for it, and here she just anticipated, and instead of letting him do it, she kind of just went for it, and then instead of, you know, waiting a second,
Yeah.
the second itty bitty longer, and that's what caused that whole mishap, because the other stuff that I would assume would have been the harder ones for her, she actually nailed.
She was great.
Yeah. So
It was ridiculous. I mean, flat out ridiculous. If you were just watching from the waist up, you would
Yeah.
have no idea about her legs.
Yeah, and she kept up the bounce with him and how she done it, and like what she said, it's like it's, you know, thighs and hip flexors, and it was actually easier than waltz.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I do agree. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. Okay, like I love her, and I think this was a full of content, fully packed jive routine, absolutely amazingly great. Now, Carrie Ann to say this was the best kick action out of all the seasons that I've seen.
I
and flicks, yeah.
wanted to bring that up.
You're like, no. There were others, many that were just as good.
Because there's been some pretty amazing people on the
Hello.
show. Sean
Nicole
Johnson,
Scherzinger.
Her jive is
Hello. Yes.
you know. So
I mean,
maybe it was just carried away in the moment because
she
was
does
that.
that. I
incredible.
feel Carrie Ann does that. She gets carried away. It's like, oh, this was the best one. I mean,
But
there's
she
But
wasn't the only one.
here's you know the flip side of it. You know, her feet that Amy has on are in a certain position.
yeah.
So when she's kicking, I mean, doesn't get more precise. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's there. You know what I mean?
Yes,
It's not.
yes.
It's not here. It's you know what I mean? It's not
always
flapping
gonna be
around.
there.
It's
Yeah.
going boom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's what she's talking about.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Jenna was talking a lot about rehearsals and how they really had to, continually test out which feet she was going to use and what was going to work for each dance. And
Yeah.
That's just that.
that's
tough.
part of the rehearsal process for her. That's not easy.
No.
9, 10, 9, 10. So 38 altogether.
I mean, to me, as much as I love this routine, I do feel like the Red Food 10 was very on because it was, as a performance, it was amazing. But technically...
Well, we got a Bruno 10 also.
Yeah. I mean, I guess so. Yeah. It was those two look for performancing, right? Is that a word?
Performancing?
Performance.
Performancing.
Is
get
that
it,
a
we get
word?
it.
Performancing.
It
But
is
the
now.
2 9s use.
It's like prancing, but performancing.
Oh my gosh.
So next week is the team dances. I do have the breakdown. Team Meryl is Danica, Amy, and Candace. Kind of interesting mix of people. And then Team Charlie has James and Nene on it. So there's an even couples because there's 7 couples remaining.
Oh.
And you've got a little bit of the whole Val, Max, Mark, and Derek all on one team.
I know,
Wow,
that's
interesting.
That's stacked. I mean, that's a stacked
Nene
team.
and-
yeah, that's gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that is a hard.
Never count anyone out, and
Nope.
we don't know if that's 100% right yet.
Okay, he's not confirming it, but we'll see what happens. I did hear that they were all rehearsing until midnight last night, and then everyone had to be in at like 9 a.m. or something.
Yes,
so it's been a
that's
long.
true. That's
Okay.
true.
He will confirm
I'll
that.
confirm that.
Jeez. Yeah, we both like looking at this one team and we're like, well, the other team can just like go and have a cup of tea and
Yeah,
cake.
if that's true, that's a.
That's just
I
never.
would.
That's
I'd be
never
like,
the case.
Let me
though, come
just
on.
no, of course not. But I'd be like, you know what? I'm just gonna have a
Lemon meringue pie.
I'm just gonna have like this Ben and Jerry ice cream on the side, like the whole thing, and then I'll come back because that's just gonna give me a Zen feeling. And then I'll come back and then kill it because I'll have so much sugar and be like,
And we do have Latin Week next week, obviously, with Ricky Martin being the guest judge. And there's a production number with Ricky. Can we talk a little?
Well, there's an opening number
Yep.
that Mandy Moore will be choreographing. That Ricky will kill.
I'm so
sure.
excited to have him on
Let's
the
just
show. I'm a fan.
focus on the fact that Ricky Martin is going to be on the show.
I
So
know.
cool.
He's so hot.
I mean, everything
killer.
about him, his music, just everything that he's.
Yes, and dance. He's such a good
for ballroom as well.
Yes.
His music has been like
used and used.
everything.
And used. Yes.
We
He's
just
going to be
love
a
him.
great judge.
I think so.
How do we feel about Abby Lee Miller coming up in a few weeks?
What?
Abby Lee Miller is going to be a judge from Dance Moms in a couple weeks. I want to say I've interviewed her. A
I
bunch.
would say,
Silence.
what's her name? Michaela Maroney. Not impressed.
Not impressed. I'm gonna give Abby Lee the benefit of the doubt. I've interviewed her many times, and she is very nice off.
I'm sure.
The show is a train wreck, Dance Moms,
Yes.
and I would never want my kids to train. I don't have kids, but if I would not take Amalia and put her in Abby Lee's school.
Why would I do that? I have my own dance school.
I know
Thank you very
exactly,
much.
but I mean,
I'll have my mom.
All right.
train
Well,
her.
let's just talk dance facts. She will have. She
Comments.
will have good comments.
She will.
because of her
and
being
she
a
has
dance
trained
teacher.
some dancers that have
Right.
worked. So
am I a fan maybe of her? Nah.
she's
But
been
like as a professional being on the show and have like this lady being a judge, you like, what?
and there's a little history between Derek and Mark and slinging some mud between the two,
Ooh.
between Abby and Derek. Yeah, so we'll see what
Wait,
happens there.
Explain that because I'm sure people don't know. What you're talking about
Derek
at
and
home.
Mark, I think, once said, I would never send my kids to.
Yes.
They tweeted it out,
Yes.
sending them to Abby Lee Miller School, and she just was like, they can have their opinion, whatever. But she has not been on Dancing with Stars. She's been asked before, but she felt uncomfortable. Feeling like some people maybe didn't like her, but it's going to be fine. Let's be honest.
Of
It's
course.
gonna be fine.
She'll probably be a good judge.
And exactly,
She'll
I
be
think she
fun.
will be a great judge because she's got experience of constant performing and
The
performances.
competitions,
Yeah.
she's going to know.
What do you think, Jane?
I don't like her very much. That's my opinion.
And that
Whether or not she's a
really-
good judge
Okay.
doesn't matter.
You
I
think
just
she'll
don't
be a
like
good
her.
judge, though?
There's a word I want to say that I can't say.
Oh, is it a swear word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She comes across as a bit of a
B?
yes.
Okay, a B.
Okay. What do you think about Ricky Martin though?
Oh my god.
I know, right?
So
Why
great.
can't I be here for another week?
I want
know.
him to go and just like start moving his hips like.
Oh my
But
gosh.
you know, like
good.
Bruno and him will be moving their hips like nuts, like
Side by side.
side by side. It's gonna be a riot.
Shebang.
Love it.
That's great. Henry, what's coming up for you for this summer? What are you doing post Dancing with the Stars?
Post Dancing with the Stars, I'm going to be, I mean, I've established myself now in the United States of America.
Finally.
I mean, and when I say established, I mean,
Legally.
I literally am just, you know, I've got a place here and I'm
Yay.
just going to be, for now, I'm just keeping things on the low and just working organically at
Yep.
the moment, just step by step.
Very good.
Fantastic.
Glad to hear that. Should we go into predictions, you guys? The time of the show where we have to predict who's going home.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So what I'm gonna do is start with Jane because she's our guest in studio.
it.
What do you think,
I'm thinking Nene.
Nene? All right, Suri,
I think it should be Nene to go home next.
Henry.
I don't want to comment. I hate it. Okay, based off of, you know, previous everything else, you know, I think they kind of lined up Candace to be.
You're right.
But
Yes.
they lined her up. Did you hear that?
They lined her up.
Well, no, when I say they lined her up, I just mean, you know, all of the previous statements and everything.
Yeah,
It's true. It's true.
I agree with Henry. I'm afraid, as much as I love her, I am afraid that it's gonna be Candace and
The shocker of the
it's
season.
the shocker of the season. And it would be very sad. And I just should it be Nene? Technically, yeah, but performance level, no. You know,
Should it be Nene? Yes. Will it be Nene? Probably not. But
She was safe
Yeah.
this week completely.
I do feel like it might be Candace.
Okay, I'm gonna say Nene because I've heard enough people have been trying to save Candace, so maybe that'll
Oh,
push through the
good,
end.
yeah.
So a lot of the fans are pushing
Well,
for
that
Candace.
is the judges don't underscore her.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing. All right, so we want to thank all of you guys for being here with us. Henry, thank you so much for coming in studio.
My pleasure.
Where can everyone find you?
At Henry Byalikob on Twitter, Facebook, and my website, henrybyalikob.com.au.
Suri.
at Suri Serano on everything: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Anna.
At A Trebunskaya on Twitter, Trebunskaya on Instagram, Anna Trebunskaya on Facebook, and the website.
Oh, Jane, why not? Give out your Twitter
yes,
account.
Jane.
At Jane Milne at AU.
Amazing.
There you
I
go.
love it.
There you go.
And I'm at Kristyn Burtt and the Kristyn Burtt on Instagram. So we'll see you guys all there. We'll be back next week. Week 7. Guess who our guest is? Chelsea Hightower. It took us 4 seasons to get her. She's finally coming.
Chelsea.
She is confirmed. So we'll see you guys all next week. Thanks for joining us here at Dancing with the Stars on AfterBuzz TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.